So, let's talk about the future, which is, well, basically right around the corner. By 2026, the way we all handle our own company data is going to look completely different. We're diving into a piece of tech today that's moving from a, that's kind of neat experiment to an absolutely essential tool for businesses, the AI-powered knowledge base.
Okay, to kick things off, let me ask you a question that I'm pretty sure is going to hit home for everyone. You're on a deadline, the pressure's on. Where's that one file you need right now?
You know the feeling, right? It's this universal headache. If you really think about your workday, how much of it is spent actually doing your job versus just hunting for the info you need to do your job? We've all become these digital detectives, digging through folders, chats, and databases. And honestly, it's a huge, hidden drain on our time.
And that feeling of being lost, of hunting around, that leads us straight into our first big idea, the corporate data maze. It's a perfect way to describe the mess we're all in.
To really get what this means, let's not think about abstract data. Let's make it personal. So picture a sales manager. All she's trying to do is put together a single, standard proposal for a client. Should be easy, right? Well, here's what actually happens. It's basically a digital scavenger hunt. First, she has to pop into the CRM to check the customer's history. Then, she has to track down the latest price list, which is probably buried in some Excel file. After that, she's got to go find a PDF somewhere with the discount rules, then search her email for old conversations, and only then can she start to piece it all together. It's just so broken, inefficient, and, let's be real, super frustrating.
And here's the kicker. The source material for this explainer puts a number on it. It says a manager spends 40 minutes not working with the client, but just collecting data about them. 40 minutes for just one proposal. Now just imagine that waste of time multiplied across every employee every single day. It's staggering.
Okay, so if we're all stuck in this data maze, what's the way out? That's what our next section is all about. We're going to need a guide, something we're calling the AI compass. So what exactly is an AI knowledge base? Here's the simplest way to think about it. It's a smart layer that sits on top of all the data you already have. It connects to everything, your CRM, your files, your databases, and lets you search across all of it at once just by asking a question like you'd ask a person. No more hunting and pecking.
Okay, that sounds pretty magical, but how does it actually work? Let's pop the hood for a second and see what's going on inside.
It really boils down to a pretty straightforward three-step process. First up, connect. The system hooks right into your data wherever it lives. And the most important part here, no massive, painful data migration project. Phew. Step 2 is process. This is the brainy part. Using cool tech like RAG, that stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, it reads and actually understands the context of your data. And finally, step 3, access. You and your team just ask questions in plain English and get straight answers with links that take you right to the source document. So it's about finding answers, not just finding files.
Now, this whole approach has a couple of really smart benefits. For one, it's model agnostic. That's just a fancy way of saying you're not locked into one AI provider. You can swap them out for whatever works best. But maybe even cooler is the usage analytics. The system actually learns from the questions people ask. And that's not just a simple metric. It's a goldmine of insight. It shows you what info your team really needs, and more importantly, where the knowledge gaps are.
All right, the tech is cool, for sure. But what does it actually do for the business? What's the bottom line? This is where things get really interesting. Let's talk about the real-world impact.
And there it is, the big, bold headline. 3 times faster access to corporate data. Just think about that for a second. Go back to our sales manager who is spending 40 minutes just digging for info. What could she do with all that time back? That is what this is all about. And it's not just for sales, not by a long shot. This kind of impact ripples across the whole company. Your legal team, they can find a specific clause in thousands of contracts in seconds, not days. HR, new hires get instant answers to their questions instead of tapping a coworker on the shoulder. Customer support gets faster, analytics gets smarter. It's basically a force multiplier for any part of the business that runs on information.
Okay, so whenever you talk about new tech, there are always 2 big questions that pop up, right? First, how much of a pain is this to set up? And second, is my data going to be safe? So let's just tackle implementation and security head on.
So you can forget about those massive, months-long IT projects. Getting a system like this up and running is framed as a quick 3-day sprint. Day 1 is all about diagnostics, figuring out what you need. Day 2 is integration, hooking up the data. And by day 3, you're ready to pilot and launch. It's built to be fast, so you start seeing the value almost right away.
And now for that all-important question of security. The answer couldn't be clearer. It is your data, and it's always under your control. Your information doesn't get sent out to some external server. Access is based on roles, so people only see what they're supposed to see. Plus, everything is encrypted and every single query is logged. Security isn't just a feature, it's built into the very foundation.
So there you have it. We've journeyed from the frustrating data maze to having an AI compass in our hands. We've seen how it works and the incredible impact it can have. So I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. If your company's entire collective knowledge, every email, every contract, every single project was all connected into one single searchable brain, what would be the very first thing you'd ask it?